In section 9, we're going to talk about blood flow. So basically how your body decides where to send blood and how much blood. So the process is known as tissue perfusion. Basically getting the right amount of blood to the right place at the right time. And tissue perfusion serves a variety of different roles, one of which is going to be delivering oxygen and nutrients and removing waste. The other is going to be supporting gas exchange in the lungs, absorbing nutrients in the gut, and even forming urine in the kidneys. So all of these functions are going to require really fine-tuned control of blood flow. And that means they're going to need to use both extrinsic and intrinsic mechanisms in order to manage it. So extrinsic control is going to be involve the sympathetic nervous system and hormones. They're going to regulate the overall blood flow throughout the entire body. We also have intrinsic control, also referred to as autoregulation, that's going to happen at its own level. So we can sense how much blood is needed and then adjust the diameter of nearby arterioles accordingly. So this is just, again, we've talked about intrinsic and extrinsic previously. Intrinsic controls meaning coming from within that particular tissue or that organ. When we talk about extrinsic controls, we're talking about control outside of that tissue or that organ. Blood flow control is split between both extrinsic and intrinsic systems. It's not like only one is occurring. Both of them are usually occurring simultaneously. So we've mentioned this a couple times now, but this is showing you how blood is flowing during exercise. So this is actually a really good example of redistribution. So at rest, your skeletal muscles only get about 20% of your total blood flow. But during a workout, they can take almost 70% of your entire blood volume. And this is because we have intrinsic controls that are causing muscle arterioles to dilate, which is increasing the blood flow to those active tissues. Meanwhile, we have extrinsic controls also kicking in that are helping to reduce blood flow to places like our kidneys and our digestive tract who don't actually need that blood right now. So your body maintains the mean arterial pressure during the shift, which is really, really amazing considering all the changes that are happening at once. So let's talk more about intrinsic regulation, which is powered by two main mechanisms, metabolic controls and myogenic controls. So when we talk about metabolic controls, these are really going to kick in when the tissue is active. So as metabolism increases, the cells are going to consume more oxygen and generate more waste products. So things like hydrogen ions, carbon dioxide, potassium, adenosine, and prostaglandins. So these waste products are going to be signals to the arterioles to relax. And when our arterioles relax, they're going to open up capillary beds. And then we're going to have local endothelial cells release chemicals like nitric oxide, which are going to act as a powerful vasodilator. They also release endothelians, which help constrict blood vessels. So there is this kind of constant tug of war happening where we have nitric oxide causing vasodilation being released, and we also have endothelians causing vasoconstriction being released. But when blood flow is low, nitric oxide is going to win and vasodilation is going to take over. Myo means muscle, so if we're talking about myogenic control, we're really talking about maintaining consistent blood flow using the smooth muscle that is lining the blood vessels themselves. So the smooth muscle in the blood vessels can sense stretch. If the blood pressure spikes, the vessels are going to stretch more than usual, and the response is going to be that the muscle is going to constrict to help reduce flow and protect the tissue. If blood pressure drops, the vessels are going to dilate to increase flow. Again, the whole purpose of this is to keep perfusion steady. So long-term regulation is referred to as autoregulation. So sometimes the short mechanisms really aren't enough, especially if the tissue is not getting enough supply that it needs. So that's when our long-term autoregulation is going to have to come in. So it does take a long time, so a couple weeks or even months, but our body can actually grow new blood vessels. This is a process called angiogenesis. It can also enlarge existing vessels that we have. This is also an important thing that occurs in the event that somebody has like a chronic heart condition, or even people who move to a high altitude area where the oxygen levels are a lot lower. So it's basically your body's way of slowly adapting to make sure that all of your body tissues still get what they need. So this is showing you the big picture. We've already talked about all of this, but you can look at the different controls and what effect they have either on vasodilation or